Okay, so let's talk a little bit about our milk. I've milked my goat this morning. I was really clean with how I collected the milk, and now we need to cool it down quickly and store it in some container that is able to be sterilized. A lot of small producers, I think, even if it's just for your own consumption, I feel like you really should adhere to the guidelines that are in place for even the bigger operations as far as sanitation and milk handling and cooling and times like that. I feel it's really important. We do want to maintain a safe, healthy product, and so maintaining a high level of quality is a good idea. So some of the equipment I use is the Ball half-gallon wide mouth jars. This is a half-gallon size. I actually freeze my milk if I ever have a dry time or if I want to travel and take some milk with me. This is a 1.5 pint wide mouth Ball jar. These are freezable, no risk of cracking. I highly recommend these if I do have some people that want to get a large amount of milk, and we can store it in the freezer and they can pick it up all at once. And then my milk filter, I use a stainless steel milk filter. It's got a ring here. I'm going to show you the filter that goes into that strainer. I use the Tuffy Schwartz filters. These are 4 9/16, but you can get different sizes. So you take a filter, also I've just washed my hands thoroughly with hot soapy water before touching any of my equipment. Take your filter. Hopefully you guys can see this. This is a ring that holds the filter. It goes into the filter. Pops down in there. Then I'm going to take my jar. This is all coming out of my dishwasher. That's why I'm working right here by the sink. Put my jar into the sink. I put my funnel on top. I'm just going to make sure this is a good angle still. Now let's get a little closer. So you can see that the filter is sitting on that jar. I have a Hoger pail, milking pail I got from Hoger Dairy Supply. It has a nice half moon lid on it. Really like that. It helps keep the dust and stuff out of your milk. You do always get a little hair or something in there. That's why we filter the milk. So then I'm just going to go ahead and pour this through my filter in my jar. And you need to pay attention. I can't put like this whole bucket into a half-gallon jar, so you have to pay attention down below. The milk should filter easily. This is warm milk right out of the goat, so it should filter really efficiently through that filter. And if it doesn't, you may have a problem with your goat. So filtering the milk through an actual approved milk filter is really recommended because it has a certain number of microns that only allow certain cells through there. So if your goat is having mastitis or even a low-grade infection, it'll catch those cells that don't go through the filter. Okay, so we filled one jar. And then I always get my jar and my lid ready for my next jar. So I have my lid in my hand. I move my filter over, get that lid on as soon as possible. You may not screw it on, but just get it on to keep anything from falling in there. And then we'll do our second jar. So yeah, the milk filters, people always ask like what do I use to filter my milk? And I see so many people saying, oh, just use a coffee filter, or use some butter muslin, fold it up, or things that are not able to be sanitized. This is a one-use filter. It is specifically made for milk. I mean, you can do the research on it. It gets down to certain microns of fat globules and everything else to only allow milk and fat and protein through and keep any cellular material, skin cells, blood clots, things like that through. So use a one-use filter. They make all different kinds of strainer styles. Oh, I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to do the cooling process of my milk here. So let's take a temp on this milk before I put it into my saltwater solution. And it is right about 85, 90 degrees. Okay. So on my channel here, I have another video about how to make a saltwater solution, and the reason why is that's how I cool my milk. So I'm going to show you that. So in my deep freezer, I have a bucket and something in there. And in the bucket is my saltwater solution, so it's completely liquid. Now, I just took this milk, it was 90 degrees, and we're gonna put it in this solution for, oh, it's not gonna take very long. Let's set a timer for 10 minutes, and I'll come back and we'll check the temp when I pull it out of here. So while our milk is cooling, let's just look a little closer at the equipment here. This is a single-use milk filter. You can see in my filter I have a little bit of hair here, down here I guess. And it's really good to look at your filter daily and monitor the health of your goat and how things are going. Are you prepping the udder enough? Is there anything unusual? So there's the filter, a few hairs, a few skin flecks. But yeah, I highly recommend using an actual disposable milk filter. They are super affordable, sanitary, and really the best, safest way to filter milk. So let's go over proper washing of our equipment now. With milk, you're always going to want to rinse it right away with like lukewarm water, not hot, not cold, just lukewarm, very mild temperature. And you're going to want to just rinse all the milk residue off right away. You want to get that water to where it's pretty clear. Okay, just rinsing. Here's the half moon lid to that hoover tail. It comes off like this for cleaning. So right now I'm just rinsing with lukewarm water. Then we should use just a detergent. Dawn, good stuff. You can also, what I do is I wash it with soap and water like this. Sometimes I put it in the dishwasher. Depends on if I have other stuff to go in the dishwasher. We are really water conscious in our home, and so really don't run it very much. So what I do is I wash it like this, and I actually store my equipment in my dishwasher because it's a nice clean place where everything can air dry. That's really important with milking equipment. You don't want to dry it with towels. You want to put it on a rack and let it air dry, drip dry. If you do have a machine, that's how you're going to want to treat your machine as well. I don't use I do have a machine that I milk with, but I don't use that. No, I don't use that machine for milk for human consumption. I feel like I can actually be cleaner when I hand milk myself. Less parts, less crevices for things to live. I know how everything is washed and cleaned daily, and my machine just doesn't get broken down and cleaned nearly as well or thoroughly as I would like. Like I don't have hot water out to my barn, and I just don't really feel comfortable doing that. So most of the times I just wash it real good with soap and hot. Now I'm on hot water, soap and hot water, and we do this. And then about once a week, you should do an acid wash of some kind. You can use vinegar. I actually have a dairy acid that I purchased through this dairy supply store. I know Caprine Supply sells, and Kroger sells acid washes. And what that's really important is milk will build biofilms, even on stainless. They build up these thin films that you can't see or feel, and that can harbor bacteria. So I'm just gonna finish washing my pail here. So I washed my pail and I now have it over here upside down, drip drying. I store all my milk handling equipment upside down like this over here. I have one of those wire racks from Costco. It's a disaster right now, but you get the idea. Just important to get airflow. And then I do clean this rack probably about once a week with a like Clorox type wipe. I just wipe it off. Helps to reduce the chances of getting any cross-contamination. Here's how I just store my stuff in my dishwasher. I've got my strainer, the lid to my pail, and I just keep everything in my jars in here. We are kind of dusty in my area, so I like to keep everything a little bit more tidy. We've got about just under 2 minutes left on our timer, so we'll check that milk that's in the freezer. So the goal is to get your milk down to, I believe it's 45 degrees within, well, the guidelines for USDA are really pretty lax, if you ask me, but I think it's 45 degrees. Now I'm going to have to look and verify that, so hold on one second. Okay, so our timer went off. Let's check the temp on our milk and see where we're at after 10 minutes. Okay, so let's check our temp now. 10 minutes. So also when you do it like that, when you cool it, it'll seal those jars, the vacuum it makes. I really don't like this thermometer. I have a better one, but I can't find it. Right now it's at about 50 at 10 minutes. I don't like that thermometer. I don't know that it's working. But anyway, rapid cooling on that milk is really important to preserve the freshness and flavor. So get to milking.